So sickle cell disease, sickle cell anemia, I will not split hairs because it's really not important. It's one big disease. It's a blood disorder.
Okay.
And that's very important for me to say that, because a lot of people come in thinking their child has cancer. And
because that's what we think we know.
Exactly. And I say, no, 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 this is very, very different from cancer. This is actually a blood disorder. And it's inherited. That also is something very important for somebody to be aware of. And that means then you need to have it in your family history. The other thing is it's a disorder of the red blood cells.
Okay.
And because medicine, more or less, initially people would just describe what they saw. They saw that this disorder presented with red blood cells that look like sickles. I know people know the sickle to cut the grass with, and so they just called it sickle cell disease.
Yeah.
So what exactly happens is that a patient gets, or you get a mutation. And that mutation, when the oxygen levels go low, the red blood cell is usually like a donut. It's oval or round. It changes its shape from being round to a sickle. Now, that gives it a disadvantage because when the red blood cell is discoid, it's able to maneuver itself through the blood vessel. But if it changes its shape, then it becomes very difficult to move through the blood vessels, especially the small ones. So what happens is there is an obstruction of blood flow. And remember, what is blood carrying? Blood is carrying the food, the oxygen that is going to various tissues. So if there is an obstruction, then what happens is that that tissue starts to actually die off. And so the hallmark of sickle cell disease is usually pain. And most patients will get a pain crisis, either a pain in the hand, a pain in the leg, a pain in the back, pain in the chest. And that's what most people will see and say, oh, I've seen a patient with sickle cell disease, and basically they tend to have lots of pain. Now, the body also has a way of detecting that these red blood cells don't look normal. So it tries to get rid of them. And that is what we get. As it's trying to get rid of them, it actually breaks these red blood cells and produces a yellow pigment, which we see in the eyes of most patients with sickle cell disease, that actually looks yellow. So we say they are jaundiced, but that will look, their tissues look yellow, their eyes look yellow.